Welcome back to Raised by Giants, where we talk all things spirituality. I'm Ryder Lee. Tonight we have returning guest, authentic extra-dimensional reptilian channeler Anthony from Canadian Awareness, speaking about Reptilian Honor, Fraudulent Channelers, and the Draconian Empire, and much more. But before I introduce him, check out Raised by Giants on Rockfin. It is a completely uncensored platform. Go over there, set up a free account, get all of my regular content I post here on YouTube, and sign up for Rockfin's premium content, which is far less than a YouTube premium account, at only $10 a month. And you'll get all of my premium uncensored content when it gets released, and all of the other creators' premium content as well, like Beyond Classified, Charlie Robinson, Jay Dyer, Zero with Sam Tripoli, Tinfoil Hat, Eddie Bravo, and Rex Bear Leak Project, and much more. Check the link in the description to sign up for the video streaming platform, Rockfin. Also, check out C60 Purple Power. It is the most powerful antioxidant on the planet. Helps with energy levels, skin problems, infections, eyesight, brain cognition, EMF radiation, and a lot more. It's a free radical sponge that gives your body the ability to heal itself. And if you use promo code GIANTS10 from the link in the description, you'll get 10% off your entire purchase. I highly recommend it. I've been using it for over a year with my own money, and I wouldn't recommend something that doesn't work. Introducing tonight's returning guest, extra-dimensional reptilian channeler, Anthony from Canadian Awareness Podcast here on YouTube. And I just wanted to say a few words really quick before I bring him on. Straight from my heart, I believe Anthony is a very honorable individual. His information is real. His experiences are real. He's not fraudulent in any way, shape, or form, not one fraudulent bone in his body, and his information should be taken very seriously. I've had the pleasure and the opportunity to get to know him since our very first interview over a year ago, and I find his information very credible. And I just wanted to say those words to you guys really quick, and I hope that you enjoy the show, and happy new year to all of my audience and anyone that may be listening. Thank you very much. Here is Anthony from Canadian Awareness Podcast. Anthony, the legit and very honorable reptilian channeler, my brother, it's good to see you again. It's almost been a year since you were first on, and I know that you don't do very many interviews, so it's an honor and a privilege to have you back on again, and it being my last show of 2022, ending this thing off with a bang. How have you been, my friend?
I've been great. Appreciate the comment. Respectful words of nature. I give you my respect back. Say hello to you, your family, your team, everyone at Raised by Giants, and obviously, most importantly, your viewers that watch your show. I know some of them, and particularly Go. Big regards to him, my Eastern European brother. Thanks for having me. Great to talk to you again. And we chat sometimes, Facebook and things like that, but not like this. Maybe we make it a habit. We'll do it after, every December.
Absolutely. Make it a yearly thing. And we have a lot to talk about. So much has gone on in the past year. You started your own podcast on your YouTube channel, and it's amazing, by the way, very professionally done. And people are really looking for truth right now in this community, I believe, and they're tired of the fake bullshit, right? From the spiritual community, from the channeling community, and the secret space program and super soldier community. And we're going to get into that. So don't worry, folks. But it's important to start this off with letting people know more about yourself, for those that might not have been aware of you, or they haven't watched our first interview. And I think it's important, right? And I think we covered this last time a little bit, but how did you start channeling reptilians, Anthony?
Well, I never really meant to do it. It was never meant to happen for me. It wasn't actually even part of my soul agreement. wasn't even part of my soul contract. The beings that I'm talking about, or in that you're talking about, they've never really even belonged in my oversoul. So it was just I wouldn't say a coincidence. I think it was a more of a better reason to explain is that my energy orientation, my preference, my resonance certainly always has been towards very fierce energies, dominant energies. Some will call it brutal energies, because I came from a war as a child, and every man in my family was a soldier. Some is ranked as sergeants in the military, that is, because in Eastern Europe, you have to do military for 18 months, mandatory, every man at age 18. So I grew up with like 6, 7 members of the family, like uncles and stuff on both sides of the family, both grandfathers, my father, everybody was a military guy. And growing up in communism, it's different than here. You know, we live in a snowflake, wokeism, cancel culture type of society now, right? So down there, it's not like that. And it made me into like an adult as a little child, you know what I mean? And I saw these brave men, just how they acted. They gained respect everywhere they went. They showed respect. They had respect, they had honor, they had pride. So I always wanted to be like them. So that led me into a variety of different sports. You know, I was in martial arts at like age 5 or 6 or something. And that led me to careers, including close protection industry. I ended up actually working for the former president of Pakistan, Pervez Musharraf, and his wife when they came to Toronto during the September of 2010, and then G20. So eventually I started gravitating towards extraterrestrial research and, you know, obtaining higher levels of consciousness. And I always knew we're not alone. I had some experience as a child, which I don't think it's even worth getting into. You know, we all have had that. And I started reading and reading and reading, and I never really believed in the church and these religions, these prison systems, these manipulating control systems. You know, humanity's 5,000 years old. You know, Egyptians built the pyramids, all this propaganda. So I started to research more, and then the money that I had in my own personal money, I would spend it by traveling to visit different cultures and learn about their civilizations, whether it was Mexico, whether it was Giza pyramids, whether it was Istanbul, whether it was Russia. I wanted to learn myself, you know, and that led me into speaking to brilliant minds, extremely intelligent people, well researched, extremely spiritual, and even some extremely religious that really executed that religion, that belief system really beautifully in a way. So then I started traveling through the United States and in Canada to spiritual expos. And once I visited that, I obviously had exposure to many different speakers, many different presenters, you know. And then I gravitated more and more towards extraterrestrials and their contact and so forth. But again, I never gravitated towards the angelic type, the angels, these things we're told how they hug you and pet you on the head. It's not like that. I deserve, a best way to put it is require, I require and I seek tougher energies, fierce energies, dominant energies. And this is where the gravitation towards reptilians came in. And there were some underground reptilian channelers back then, about 8, 10 years ago, aside from, let's say, Bashar, the Arlanka, who channeled Yael and Sassani's, Rob Garcia, who channeled a reptilian hybrid, and Treb, which his name is Treb. So there was other guys. And then eventually David Lauer came into the picture, a very honorable reptilian channeler from Germany. And when I was watching him for 3 to 4 years, at least, bringing in some powerful races, Vortak, Morkul, Kalask, obviously, and a couple different reptilian races, I knew that was it for me. I wanted to be a channeler, and not to make money, because I already came from a very successful career. I don't want to get into that on the show, but you are very well aware that I'm not seeking channeling adventures for money. You know where I live, you know what I do, you know the success of our business. So this is not it. I keep that private, but I respect you, so I've shared that with you in the past. But I just wanted to talk to extraterrestrials. And the more I was told not to, the more I wanted to talk to them. The more I was told, don't do it, they have tails, teeth, the more I wanted to talk to them. And I never believed in the fear mongering, you know, like reptilians eat all humans. Yeah, okay. I haven't seen that once. And I've met some pretty malevolent reptilians. So this is where the gravitation started. And I know I'm going into off topic, but I wanted to give you the history because we didn't cover this last time. So what ended up happening was there was an artist in Sedona. She lives in Serbia now. Her name is Vashta Nerada. extremely talented artist that depicts a lot of extraterrestrials. Phenomenal girl, very authentic girl. And she posted a channeling of her own where she ran into a race of reptilians, white reptilians, named Theta Tauri. And she said it was the most brutal, vicious thing she's ever seen. That's how petrifying they are. And immediately captivated my attention. And I started to research, and there really wasn't a lot of information on them because, they only came to Earth once 600 years ago, to Chile, that they committed a little, genocide there because they were attacked by the villagers. And then they were depicted ever since as demons, or that's why the word demonic comes from that area. That's what they're referring to, actually, is the visit that this race had. And then I was introduced to Rob Garthier, one of the greatest channelers, I think, on planet Earth, really. Happens to be a very close friend of mine, probably one of my top 3 friends in the industry. And he channeled Theta Tauri race through a being he's connected to in 6th density race, this little Denibian, 4-foot little humanoid. And he channeled them for like 26 minutes. And my eyes were glued to the TV when I heard that. And this was about 5 years ago or so, I would say, something like that. I'm not sure the date. And in their message, they were extremely malevolent. They didn't threaten a human, but they did say, we don't connect to any of you. All of you guys are pretty much pieces of shit because you guys are just weak little, little babies crawling through life, begging for permissions to do things, allowing tyranny to run over you and allow the power to be taken away from you by those that don't deserve to take that power away in the first place. But I didn't judge them for that. And I contacted Rob Garthier at the time. I sent him an email. We did not know each other. And I hired him. I paid him. I hired him to be a channeler for me and connect me to this race. And obviously declined. It's like, you got out of your mind? No, I don't even know who you are. It's not going to happen. I said, listen, this is, I just want to say hello, and tell them, well, what is the reason of my gravitation towards them? Make a long story short, he did. He agreed. He was very respectful. He agreed. He was protected by his 6th density Denibian. So his energy was protected while in a trance state. He's a trance channeler. And I was able to contact them, and they dismissed me immediately. They told me not to call. And then I called the second time. I was very respectful, and I told them what is the reason of my gravitation towards them, because I experienced brave men, tough men, emotionless men in the war, in the war that we came from as a family, and that these soldiers saved my life. It's just a true story. So I just wanted to tell them that, I gravitated towards that. And this is how I act in life. These are my own principles. So they asked me, okay, well, where'd you come from? So I knew they wanted a dialogue. And I've asked them, I said, listen, I'll tell you whatever you want to hear. No, but I just want to get your promise. And I know you're an honorable race. Just don't ever, abduct me, kill me, hurt me. But I'll answer your questions. And they said, we generally would, but in this case, we won't. And they didn't. And that's really how we met. So I continued using Rob to teach me and educate me how to be a channeler. I used other channelers from Europe to teach me the same thing. I mean, I even took a course by Lee Harris, and I just kept reading about channeling, and not the quick channeling, and I can get into the difference with you. Real professional channeling, where your soul facilitates the channeling connection between the consciousness of the 5th density or 6th density, goes through the proper layers to get down into your 3rd density, then consciousness is switched. They get into your body and you leave.
Hold on just a second, because this is a part of my second question to you. So your claim to fame here, and this is a very important question, is that you're a legit Draconian Reptilian Channeler, which I believe that you are. But what makes you different than any of these other fly-by-night channelers channeling Ashar, Ashtar, Galactic Federation, and my favorite, which is the Palladians, which is the most generic term ever? There's so many fake channelers out there. So how does the public know you're not just making things up, or it's just your imagination, or you're faking it, or you're stealing other people's info like others do?
That's a very complex question, which would require a complex answer. And it would require an answer to be extremely authentic and truthful at this very moment, because this is being recorded, obviously, and it's going to stay on the internet forever. So I would say this, before I even answer your question, I urge anyone with an open mind, with respect, of course, to challenge anything that I say, what I'm about to say, to cross-examine, to investigate, and to bring forward publicly if there's something that I say that's not true at this answer coming up to you. So first and foremost, I'm going to break it down in some tiers for you, if that's all right.
Yep.
So just give me about 8 minutes to explain some things.
You got it.
You mentioned when people say Pleiadians. Let me get that out of the way. When someone says today, I channel Pleiadians, and you ask them a question, what is the race that you channel from Pleiadians? Pleiadian is not a race. Pleiadians is not a race. Pleiades is a massive system. It has multiple different stars from Taygeta to Psycheon. Guys, read it. It's not a race. It's first and foremost, so they need to educate themselves. Secondly, you need to ask them, what is the planetary system? What is the star system? What's the population of this race that you channel? What do they look like? Did you meet them first? What agreements do you have with them? What contracts do you have with them? What is the connection of this Pleiadians to your oversoul? What's their connection to your soul? So your fractal now. How long have you known them for? How many times you go to their ship? Did you walk their sacred land? Did they open a portal in your house? You walked through and visited them. What steps did you take to become a channeler? Give us a story. What is channeling? So when you start asking these questions, the people are not going to have the answers because they do not know who they're talking to. They just say Pleiadians because they're so fucking stupid. They don't even understand that you cannot talk to a Pleiadian, an Andromedan, an Arcturian, just because you think you want to. There's certain permissions, permits, steps that need to take place, council meetings that need to take place in order for a race to associate themselves with you. Secondly, when it comes to the federations, I think, I'm in my 40s, you're old enough too. I'm not sure your age, your audience is extremely mature based on what I've seen in your previous shows. And you have a lot more episodes than I do on the podcast, but they know by now already that we need to eliminate this fairy tale kindergarten story, that there is a galactic federation of light, Ashtar Command, Lore Ashtar, Tito Ashtar, Michael Jackson Ashtar, United Planet Ashtar shit, that's Jerusalem ship, Taygeta Council. Guys, there is no such thing. This has been going on since the 1990s. From Fulford to Cobra, Greg Giles, Niddle, Wilcock, Elizabeth April, Aurora Ray, Sam Illusionist, the list goes on. No federations coming, none exist whatsoever. So to answer your question, I've never single one time ever talked about any federations in any of my channeled messages, in any of my videos. Secondly, I've never repeated somebody else's information. And in fact, I'll give a dare to your audience. If your audience can take a copy and paste of a text in relation to reptilians or an Alpha Draconian Empire or Theta beings or Kalask, that I've taken it from another speaker, please email it to me and I will shut down the entire Canadian Awareness channel and podcast that I've invested tons of money in. So that's not going to happen. Also, too, when it comes to channeling, one of the things that people can evaluate truly is that what's the overall message? What's the mission? What's the aim of this channeler? Is he convincing? Is he repeating? Is he asking you for the super chat donations? Is he asking you to sign up for that Patreon? Is he asking you to sign up for private channeling, VIP channeling? What is he doing? Is he asking you constantly to buy his t-shirts? Is he asking you to buy his cups? Well, I'll give you an example. I have Canadian Awareness cups right here. I mailed them for free to people that watch my show. You'll never see me selling these. There's no need. Cup is like $5. To ship something to the United States is like 35 Canadian dollars with tracking and shipping with Canada Post. So I'm not into it for the money. So that's number one. I don't chase the fame and all this stuff. I don't care how many likes I get. I have like the least amount of followers, man. There's people that have 3, 4, 500,000. I have like, I don't even know, a few thousand maybe. So I don't care. I like to bring in the truth of the interstellar civilizations is truly my mission. But when it comes to channeling, one of the things that channelers can see certainly is energy exchange. An energy exchange that is missing today often in the industry is simply because the humans are not channeling. You closing your eyes like this and saying, you're not channeling. You putting a nice scarf on your head like this to cover a female, beautiful long hair. Okay, you may want to look like Mary Magdalene. You're not channeling. putting a little sticker between your eyes like a diamond representing your third eye, you're not channeling. Associating yourself with fraudulent concepts such as Galactic Federation of Light, Galactic Federation of Worlds, and things like that, you're repeating somebody else's bullshit, meaning you have no honor. So when it comes to channeling, you have to evaluate the message itself, the intelligence brought forward. Does it sound like transhumanism? Does it sound like artificial intelligence? Does it sound like you're repeating someone? And if you look at my videos, I brought in information that was not available on the internet before in the channeling industry. I talked about Moon, Mars, Saturn. I talked about who killed the dinosaurs, the name of the race that killed the dinosaurs, how long it took. In fact, I mentioned what was the material made out of. I talked about pineal gland, telepathy, reptilians, draconians, earth-based reptilians. I talked about avatar insertions in the dream states. This is what I teach too, how to recognize avatars. So variety of different information that you don't see Galactic Federation offering or SSP, little toy soldiers working around Earth that are offering. I talked about interstellar wars. I'm the first guy that brought up the name of the two draconian races that won the Orient Wars. I even talked about even the Taygeta. There's a 5 or 6 year movement already on Earth in relation to Taygeta hoax, Taygeta scam. Taygeta, listen, 5 years of Taygeta channeling on Earth today. 5 years of channeling on Earth today. Now, one time, as everyone mentioned, any other race on Taygeta, I brought that information. And in fact, in my Taygeta video, I brought up the name of the races who run that region. And it ain't the ones that are being channeled today. AI is the one that channels today, just that humans don't know yet. So there's a lot of different things that they can certainly evaluate. But I think for a professional in our industry or yourself or someone that understands energy, or that understands souls and how souls work, you can always find out a lot about a person today by asking them how many soul layers are in one soul. Name me 10 layers. A lot of people don't know. So they got to look at also too, how is it that I'm incorporating my energy? What's my grounding game like? How do I ground? How do I neutralize? How do I connect to the grid? How is it that I bring in the layers of my soul, including 4th density, 5th density, then 6th density to be protected, right? By bringing in a consciousness. How am I bringing in the emotional layer, mental layer? How am I bringing in the layer that deals with astral dream states? How do I bring in the consciousness of an extraterrestrials, and what steps did I take? So these are the things I talk about openly. So I'm not making this up, obviously, out of a, YouTube video or something. You don't see me reading a script where I patch 15-second scenes to create a video. Pick any video on my YouTube page, right? And you'll be able to see I speak normally. Like I shoot with multiple cameras. I can rotate them right now for you. They're visible on my podcast. I have 5 Sony E6400s. And we rotate them all the time from different angles. So the editor edits them, but I don't read from scripts. I'll talk to you about anything because I know it. It's in my mind. It's embedded already. It's in the memory bank. So I think these are the things that humans can look at and then evaluate for themselves. Who's bringing in fraudulent channeling, who's pretending, I should say, but also who is an authentic. And most importantly, I'll leave this till the end. Anyone that doubts my channeling, you're more than welcome to hire me.
So you brought up just a few minutes ago about this AI channeling. What is the percentage rate of human channelers that are claiming to be channeling beings? What's the percentage rate that they could be or may be hijacked by some sort of AI and they're channeling AI and it's not an actual being that they're channeling?
61%. 61% as of 2022. This is a statistic. First statistic was at 60%. Second one was given at 61%. 2 different races. Quite familiar with Earth. Quite familiar with Earth. So 61% of today's channelers, psychics, Starseed energy, 5D ascension coaches, 61% are humans that are a combination of completely fraudulent, meaning zero energy exchange, zero connection to an extraterrestrial being, or they are hijacked by a combination of 4 things. And I'll be very specific explaining the 4 things because I want you to understand the hierarchy of these 4 things. First and foremost, immediately, it is deceased humans. Second is the astral parasites. third, AI, and fourth, some cases, fourth density, extraterrestrial, so physical beings, fourth density. You don't see a fifth, sixth density wasting their time to use technology to hijack a Ryder Lee or an Anthony. It's not going to happen. They have better things to do. So AI is significantly infiltrated Earth. The two current Taygeta speakers, so both clowns from Europe, two different females, French and Polish one. Yeah, they are specifically talking to the AI. And in no way, shape, or form, they are speaking to the authentic races, physical beings from the Taygeta era, Shwaru, Nur, and other regions within Taygeta. Because they don't know it yet, but other channelers who have particular mental warfare tactics, tools, and abilities are able to see that. And there's also no energy exchange when they channel. Like, it's one thing when you're speaking into a camera, like I'm speaking to you now, but it'd be a different story. Like if I'm reading down notes, you know, like my laptop is right here. I'm looking at my laptop right there. But it's different if I have this phone and I'm reading notes, and then I'm like, you know, looking down at my laptop and be like, yeah, Ryder Lee. And yeah, it's definitely this and that, because these people are reading notes. They're reading shit that's already prepared. Look at Sam the Illusionist. Look at his channeling. He tapes a piece of audio right here and he lays on bed and he records that, because it's the audio then gets matched with the video in post editing. Video editors know, like video editors use post editing softwares, so they would know that. So 61% is the answer. I know their names. I know who they are. And they know that I know, because this is not an arrogant statement. It's just simply because we see each other in the astral. I see them, they see me.
Can you name the top couple?
Top what?
Top few of these fraudulent AI.
Yeah, you've interviewed one.
Yeah, we've talked about it.
Yeah, you've interviewed one, right? So she's certainly a coward, a completely fraudulent human with no dignity and honor. Elena is who I'm referring to. She's no ambassador of no galactic federation. Her imaginary boyfriend that she wrote a book about, it's not a picture of an ET, it's a picture of a hair model that's just edited. Okay. Same with the other girl, Taygeta, whatever, I don't know what her name is, from Europe. Same thing. Watch my Taygeta video. Anyone can watch my Taygeta video. You have other, you know, there's a lot of other people that are like now pretending to be like the new Messiah, the new prophet. And, you know, Alabar Jones is another guy who came up with a claim that he personally is a professional astral viewer who arrested 340 alpha draconian beings here on Earth. Meanwhile, an alpha draconian being 6.9 density, dude, to him coming to Earth would be like me going to a forest to look for a snail and killing the snail. Why would, what? Like, I got better things to do. So yeah, you have a lot of claims like that, right? You have a lot of people now that are referring themselves, you know, as the selected prophets, the missionaries, professional channelers, 22 strain DNA. That's another claim I read personally by Elena. No organic human on Earth today has 22 strain DNA enabled. That would not be possible. You wouldn't be able to live a minute. It's not how it works. So a lot of claims, right? There's a lot of claims, a lot of bullshit as they steal innocent human money, thought form, energy, overpromising, never delivering. Never.
That's important too. So on that line of thinking and people creating these, you know, these thoughts and these ideas and faking it and making it up or being hijacked by AI, what's the most common misconception, and you might have already touched on it a little bit earlier, about reptilians that you've seen floating around the community? Because I feel like this is an important thing to clear up as well.
Well, we always see the same thing, you know, first and foremost, those that claim that they speak to reptilians are always shit on, saying they're making it up. Trust me, we have no reason to make it up. If anything, guys like me and other reptilian channelers were always disliked by most people. We're always judged and discriminated, right, by most people. We got tough skin, so we don't give a damn. But what I mean is, why would you make something up, right? That's, you're just going to lose friends over. But the most stupidest thing, like, and I mean so stupid that I cannot even say, is this the mentality of a 1-year-old or a 4-year-old, is when they say that reptilians, draconians, all same shit. They all eat babies, rape our women, drink our blood, and make soups out of our like organ, like all these dumb things, right? By fear mongers. So that's definitely not true. That's completely inaccurate. I can teach a seminar on a reptilian digestive system or a reproductive system because they don't use sperm to reproduce. And I know for a fact they don't eat humans. Alpha Draconian Empire, out of the top 40 races, purebloods, not hybrids, purebloods, 90 something percent are breatharians. They don't use their digestive system. They have two hearts. One slows down and they go to bed, not bed, but they rest. They rest with their eyes open. It's like a shark. Shark always keeps swimming forward. Shark doesn't stop and sleep. So it's a very similar principle. So that's would be one thing. Number two is that they abduct, rape humans, this, that, and that's not true. No. There's abductions, of course, definitely. But they don't do that to rape you. They have no interest in sex. They do not have sex for fun or for reproductive reasons. And number three is that they're all evil. That's not true. Evil is a religious word, so is Satan. So they are malevolent in our perspective and a human perspective because we're sensitive little clowns, okay? And if someone says to you right now, oh, look at you, Ryder, you haven't shaven in a few days, you may take that as an offense. You may even be insecure enough to say, oh, shit, I should have shaven. You know what I mean? These guys don't have sensitivity. These
I
beings.
did shave. I did trim this beard up. What are you talking about?
I shaved my legs for you today. But these beings certainly are not evil. They are brutal, genocidal, most dominant soldiers and war races because they have to be this way in order to survive and win wars. This does not create them to be evil towards humans. I mean, you want to piss off a draconian being? Yeah, put out a video against them. Let it be public and see what happens. And they certainly have made their point known to me what happens to those humans. And I've seen some very malevolent things occur to human beings in the astral states where their soul is completely suspended. And yes, they can do that. They have technology to suspend your astral air. So those would be some of the lies that I hear of them. The Alpha Draconian Empire are extremely honorable, extremely fierce. They are built differently than we are. Their system is built completely different than our system. So they operate differently. They think differently. They kill differently. They don't have a sense of humor at all. They have no emotions. They don't use love. They don't even like that word. They don't like the word like. When they like you and love you, they say we respect you. So you are talking about the oldest collective in our galaxy. Oldest collective that has 89 to 91% dominance of all the locations within our galaxy. And that's a big pill to swallow for most people because most people already in the industry are programmed to say, oh, no. There's galactic federations, there's Pleiadians, there is Arcturians. Yeah, Arcturians is not a race. It's a location. What race within the Arcturus are you referring to? And then they go, oh, well, that's because you're repeating somebody else's shit. So the best way I can put it to you, and I don't want to sound arrogant, but, and I will speak very honestly, right? Because you know me, to be a very straightforward guy, I will always have a respectful debate with my peers. But everyone else, I teach. That's it. So you want to have a debate about reptilians, alpha draconians? I'm the type of guy that's going to ask you to name races. Name me races. Density layers. And don't say fifth density. I want to know 5.7 or 5.4. Descriptions. Body weight. Height. How many hearts? Eye color. How many ships do they have in their fleet? What they look like? What's the skin texture? This is how you tell a race. Skin texture. What's the structure of the jaw? How old are they? Population. Do they have a hybrid race? Oh, they do? What's the name of that race? How do you say hello in their ancient language? So I want to ask you questions. So it's probably best you don't debate with me because if you're a liar, I'll make sure that I disclose your lies. Those that truly are channelers, and there are some phenomenal channelers. I can name you some. I give them my highest respect. And from some, I've learned how to be a channeler. Rob Garthier is one. Highly respect him.
I agree 100%. I've had Rob on my show a couple of times. Very
Great
legit
guy.
and very honorable. Now, a huge misconception that, and you touched on this already, is that I see with reptilians is that people in the community saying that they're abducting people, right? Many people have claimed this. Elena Denon has claimed this. Reptilian abduction. David Wilcox said that he was raped by a reptilian. But I really don't believe any physical abduction that's happening on Earth is done by any ET group or species. I believe that it's our military and militaries from across the planet. Now, can you give the audience abduction stats on Earth and by who are doing these abductions as well?
Yeah, approximately 8 to 9% of abductions of organic humans are done by actual extraterrestrials or extra dimensionals who are physical, who open up an actual portal, and they'll take you. You're hiking, they'll take you. You're swimming in the ocean by yourself, they'll take you. Oh, absolutely. That is it. The rest, ETs don't abduct humans. Human governments abduct humans with technology that they were gifted and other things. And some of these humans never go back because they're traded. Mars has a human prison system. Earth has a human prison system underground, but I don't want to get into that because, I don't want to suspend your channel, or I don't want your channel being suspended. Children are involved and so forth. But the extraterrestrial aspect, they do. Okay, let me clarify this. They do more abductions in your dream state than your astral state, and removal of your consciousness, draining of your consciousness. Oh, it's just some violent rapes, multiple gang rapes, those kind of things. Yeah, just to pay you back for something that you've done. Those I've witnessed. That is true. That is very true. So those are not lies that you hear. But often in the industry, I do hear people will say, oh, I got always the same. Got abducted by a reptilian, got raped by a reptilian. No, guys, whoever is abducting you has already scanned your consciousness. They see what you're afraid of. They know your fears, just like they know your secrets, just like they know your sexual fetishes, just like they know your sexual desires. What turns you on? That little secret sexually that turns you on? Something that you really want to do, but you're afraid to tell your wife or husband to do. They know that. And then they give you that in the astral. And that's why you go along with it. So those aren't rapes. It's just that the beings that play with you sexually, they're not the romantic type. They're not going to lick your nipple. They'll rape you. To them, it's just sex. It's rough. And some speakers like Wilcock, who's notorious for lying. I mean, I have a clip, I believe I've sent it to. I can send it to anybody, this clip, where he fakes a channeling right on camera. He literally sat on camera and he said, worlds between worlds, and he got stuck, right? Because there's only so many sentences you can come up with, because you're not channeling, correct? You're not trading your consciousness with an extraterrestrial. You're making shit up. And he got caught right on camera. And then he turns around to his wife and he's like, hey, honey, you go make up some shit. And she's like, what? Right? So you have a lot of people that make stuff up. Definitely. So do they rape for fun? Absolutely not. Greys rape more humans than reptilians do. Because remember, reptilian penis is tucked in. It isn't hanging. It's just, of course, people don't know, because how many humans today in the industry have you seen that face the reptilian? I've met 4 Earth reptilians, 4 different locations in the world. None had dicks hanging out. They don't operate with that principle. They don't care for sex, man. They care for wars. They care for land. They care for DNA extractions, sperm extractions, extractions. They care to truly see, like, how did you remove fear out of life? Or you were a war survivor. Holy shit, what happened? How'd you survive? They are truly interested to see human involvement. And one of the parts of that involvement that they say is removal of human fear. They want to know, how did you do it? If the Anunnakis put that inside of you and genetically modified you and inserted the worshiping gene, how did you remove that? How are you not afraid of us? How are you not afraid of the governments, right? So hopefully
Now,
that kind of gives you.
now speaking of contacting and meeting reptilians, what's the name of the race that you're most frequently in contact with and who you speak to most frequently?
5 days a week, Theta Tauri, white reptilian race, the system they own, Theta Taurus. Our Google will show you 2 blue planets. There's 4, 2 right behind. Those are the 4 main planets. They own some in the vicinity, 40 to 60 places around each of those planets. Extremely massive race. Extremely, and they have a hybrid race. Those would be white reptilians I'm referring to. They are high 5th density race. They're 400 to 410 pounds, 420 pounds in some cases, depending on the age of the entity. Red eyes, long tails, 64 teeth, 2 hearts, hands like us, just they're honestly claws. It is it's like taking a hand of a frog or like a Geico, you know. Americans have this commercial on TV for the insurance, Geico TV, Geico, the little green Geico. Look at his hands, it's like that with claws. And that's truly how they appear physically. They're extremely muscular, not that they're bodybuilders. It's just that all the reptilian species were built this way. And I can talk to you about other species, other races. So they're connected to me the most just because I made an agreement with them. It's like a contract agreement. Think of an agreement contract. I made an agreement. I proposed an agreement. They revised it. I agreed. I revised it. They agreed. And we have a very strict agreement, very professional, respectable, honorable, to the point, no second chances given. And I can disconnect at any time. They can disconnect at any time. And it's been now over 3 years, three years. And there's been never an issue between us. And there won't be an issue because I'm truthful with them. I have honor. They're truthful. They have honor. Now, do they hurt beings? Oh God, yeah. Oh, dude, absolutely. They were just telling me recently, about a month, maybe month and a half ago, of a race that's been approaching them for like many, many years, not in our human time, but as they worded, years. And they finally had a meeting with this race. And the proposal Thetas didn't agree with. So the being who jumped to anger first, which reptilians do all the time, he said something that these guys took. It was like a light, it wasn't even an insult, but like a light comment. It was like me like frowning at you. And they immediately killed like that entire ship that had all the beings on them over one frown. So they're like, I cannot use the word in English. And English is my 3rd language. You know, I have not spoken English my entire life. But they are extraordinarily dangerous, fierce, brutal, malevolent, very, very malevolent. And honor comes with that. And I can talk to you about reptilian honor, but I would not consider them to be a positive, loving, love light race. They don't believe in unicorns and rainbows and 5D ascension. They know that's a catch. They are very truthful in their word, but they're very, very fierce. And with that agreement, we have that obviously I'm never to be harmed, my family members. And anyone that harms me or attempts to harm me in any astral state, projected state, including AI, including any attempted abduction, will be dealt with without even a conversation. And this happened a couple different times. I've actually recorded a video. It's on my YouTube page called Astral State Layer or Dream Hijacking. An avatar was inserted in my dream of a hotel in Las Vegas, an actual memory of me and my buddy partying in Vegas. So there was an incident there and 3 races were responsible for it. Very responsible. And that's one of the reasons why like I take these guys very seriously. They don't F around. And they said the same thing with humans. It's like, they're like, we have to acknowledge they can literally shut down every cellular tower, every satellite, every tower in your entire little shitty little world you live in. It's like, but what's that going to gain us? For what? What? You deserve to live just like we do. Right? So that's what I talked about 5 days a week. I connect regularly once a week to a reptilian race named Teoto reptilians, 2 brothers. They speak as one when they communicate. And I connect to Kalask, Alpha Draconian 6 density race from Thuban star system. Them I've known for a year and a half. And there's 5 other races within the Alpha Draconian Empire that I have very respectful relationship with great history, very good reputation. We don't hang out too often. They're very difficult to handle. And I'm not required presently to be in their presence. And one of those races, which is equivalent to the top #1 race within that empire when it comes to the war races, which is Sakaar. This is a second in command of Sakaar, and that's called Demonga. They lived on Earth with Nagais, and this is why we even have a word demons. They do look like demons, black skin, horns, the whole thing. Like I saw, I have their connection and the way that they've left it, and I can say this publicly, they've left it and said, we do have some human connections. They're not speakers in your little world reality you guys live in. We don't prefer to have connections who are speakers. We want our business private, but your primary connections is Theta beings who we have agreements and contracts with. They respect you. We respect you. You've earned our trust with us. And I can tell you why, if you desire to know what was I put through. And they said basically that from now on, we'll leave an open ticket. That's a term they use. They stole that from my head because in business, what I do for a living, we always say that, to customers, we got an open ticket. Let us know if you need us again. So they took that, which is like an open call. I just don't call them for anything, for a little nonsense. You know what I mean? Like there's no need to.
Now, can you explain the exact steps to the audience of how you communicate with Theta Tauri race, the white reptilian
Yes.
race, and if you have any proof or evidence, any physical proof of evidence that you're actually in legit communication and contact with these white reptilian race?
No one's ever going to have proof of evidence. Obviously, we live in a 3rd density world. They live in 5th, 6th density. They don't come to our houses to have Starbucks and shit like this, right? So, and we don't go there for the fun of it. Dimensionally be impossible, it'd be too jarring. Organs would explode, heart would explode, you'd get a stroke. And in some cases, the clothes you're wearing will melt into your skin. So they're not going to do that. There is no, I don't really think there's a human being on Earth today that would say, I have a picture of an extraterrestrial. Like, am I supposed to say, oh, excuse me, can we take a quick selfie, me and you? Smile. No, I said smile. It's not like that. This is why you'll never see an authentic picture of a drone that's sent by an extraterrestrials. They have drones size of a sand, 1 grain of sand, that can bend time and space, and they can bend a lot of things with their technology to become as big as a city. So you don't see these things because they don't want it to be seen. They're extremely private, very covert. And a lot of people don't even have pictures of real ships, real UFOs. And we can get into the UFOs if you desire. When it comes to the proofs, obviously there's no proof. But one thing I do have, and I'll tell you this. So in fact, and I mean this very respectfully to the audience, I do challenge those that wish to verify what I'm saying to, if they have the power, if they have the mental warfare ability to do so, to go into the astral state, project to me, because you see my picture, right? So you're able to project to me, I can project to you. And I've projected to some people's bedrooms to truly see who they are. And they're not who they say they are in the industry. Some females were biological males, some are AI hijacked completely, and some are direct government employees. One is an android, actually. He's not a real human. So there's a lot of shocking things I've seen. But one of the things that I definitely can recommend is that for the audience to project to me and sit at the edge of my energy, what we call aura field, and you'll be able to see what's called badges, names of races, names attached to my own aura field. So this is why I don't get a lot of attacks, because no race is going to want to attack and create a problem. People that are unprotected get attacked all the time. This is where avatars come in. So they'll be able to see the names of the badges associated with my own particular energy field. Those that have ability that's strong, and I don't mean intuitiveness, like, well, my grandma was a card reader, I kind of read cards for fun. That's nothing. Okay, you're useless. But what I mean is, if you have true spiritual power, so psychic power, 3rd eye flow, if you've removed a lot of blacknesses from your 3rd eye, if you've enabled your chakra system in order for you to push energy around, manipulate energy, you'd be able to shift your energy within 4th density. So what that means is, Ryder, is that if you're sitting at an expo or trade show, you can look at a person on stage and see who stands next to him. Well, you'll be able to see who stands next to me when I speak in relation to Theta beings or Draconian beings in person, or in a video or in an interview, because I can bring them in at any time. And by bringing them in, we'll answer your first portion of your question. How is it that a human, me, you, anybody, can talk to an extraterrestrial? Well, you don't talk to them. That's the thing. We don't use words. We don't use English. They speak energy. So this would go back to the channeling aspect in order for me to truly answer your question. So how is it that I'm able to even establish a connection with them? Well, these are rigorous steps that took years to create. Tremendous processes that many people don't do today. And I believed in quality. I believed in real quality versus just fast results. And this is where you get hijacked with fast results, rushing to be a channeler. I just want to channel. I just want to channel. You know, they're like a porn star. And at the end, before the guy has an orgasm, they're like, you know, give me the channeling, give it a channeling. You know, like a groupie at a concert. You know, just a worthless way of trying to desperately channel. I never desperately wanted to do anything. I wanted to do it with time, proper steps, proper education. And as I started to practice channeling back in the day, I knew that the advice that I was given was the right advice. And that is to shut off the emotional, shut off the mental, shut off the thought process, shut off the religious programming, because I was raised Catholic and Orthodox. Shut off the fear mongering, shut off the propaganda about reptilians, and just be calm. And picture their energy. Do not concentrate on the face. Do not concentrate on their facial. No, picture their energy, connect to their energy. And this is where I started to first develop a telepathy with my soul. Each soul has 120 layers, okay? 120 layers. We have lower fractal consciousness, higher fractal consciousness. Lower's got 20% of your soul, higher's got 80% of your soul. The first way to establishing channeling is you want to make sure you're fluent with the lower fractal. And how do you do that? With deep meditation practices. It's extremely important to start channeling, and not to use it as a daily tool to meditate, wear a Buddha shirt, you know, put a hashtag in your profile, starseed, you know, 5D, you know, light, love light. Oh, look, I see orbs. No, but to truly see it as a tool to enable something. So I looked at it as a tool, not a mandatory thing to do. And this is how I started to integrate layers, join my layers. So one of the first layers I was successful in integrating above my third density layer, which this is a third density physical human life, is a fourth density layer. So when I integrated fourth density layer, I started to notice that I was obtaining tremendous amount of more consciousness. I was having answers that on topics that I never read before. I never knew before. I never knew the names. I never knew the things. And then I started to connect and integrate the channeling layer, which is a mental layer. And then I started to exclude the emotional layer. Because when channeling comes through, they'll tell you some brutal things. And why humans fail in channeling is because they start to filter it. They're like, oh, shit, I can't say that. It sounds rude, right? So eventually through soul integration and soul layer, acquiring more soul layers, meaning acquiring more consciousness, I was able to grow outward. I was able to grow my consciousness to a degree where now today I can literally pause this interview, spend several minutes doing a particular practice where I would turn off the camera as it's private, and I'd be able to speak to my fourth density layer, dream state layer, astral state layer, channeling layer, and then connect to the fifth density layer, which is a physical layer in the fifth density, but I can talk to them through my fourth density. Meaning I can ask that physical layer, last night I interacted with the physical being, who was that? And that fifth density is going to talk to me. Again, not in English, it's telepathy. And with that projection of energy, they do give you an entire visual of what just occurred. Sometimes they'll give you a symbol that you were given to learn, to use, to utilize. So this is how channeling truly works as a basic step, okay? And then you start picking who you wish to work with. And at the time I was connecting to Yael, Sasanis, you know, humanoid type of races. And I greatly appreciate those experiences. I'm very grateful for those experiences, very, very appreciative, very, very humbled and thankful for all of those experiences. I've even recorded a Yael video once. It's on my YouTube page. But once you feel alpha draconian power entering your chakra system through your root chakra in a form of a large snake or anaconda, because it spirals up a Kundalini effect, and it resides and goes to your crown and then comes back down into your heart. Somebody else takes over. Okay. It's no you no more. You feel their power. You get access to you get access to the mental warfare that humans cannot even comprehend. Telepathy, mental power. This isn't like, that's normal to these guys. They're able to remote view anywhere across the galaxy. That's how powerful the remote viewing is. So once you have access to that energy and that dominant, fierce power, then you're not interested to channel some lightweight beings. They're going to teach you about love your neighbor. We are all one, star seeds. Ascension's coming. So look at my videos and see if I'm making it or not, or we'll meet at the expos. I'm a UFO MegaCon speaker, Las Vegas. I'll be there hopefully again this year. Hopefully I'll be at the Contact in the Desert. If not as a speaker, then as a visitor. In August, there's a big expo organized by Forbidden Knowledge, Billy Carson, my buddy Roderick Mark's going to be there in Manchester, UK. I'll be there. Last year, I publicly do, which is really rare to see in the industry. I'll do tours. You're aware of that. And in 22, I did 2 tours. One was across the United States, visiting, I think, 14, 15 cities. And then I did Russia, Emirates, Dubai, Turkey, Hungary, Serbia, even Bosnian Pyramid. It's on my Instagram. So I visited all these countries in advance, and the clients can work with me. So I'm doing the same thing this year, and I'm going to continue to do that because I understand the knowledge and the awareness, the education that I was given, and it is exceptionally, exceptionally honorable. And I take great pride in forwarding that reptilian consciousness to humans who desire to obtain that and who have an open mind.
Yeah, people are definitely wanting truth and real knowledge right now. So, are there any draconian races connected directly to Earth? Because from my understanding, a group of reptilians kind of created this holographic simulation that we're currently in here and now. Is that true?
I don't have a true answer for you. I don't really think that anyone does to like accurately tell you things like who exactly were the Anunnakis? What's the population of them? Who created the simulation? Who controls this reality? Those are things that we're not meant to know. Just like even I've asked, and I was shut down, is who brought the Draconians here? The ancient, not the new races, no, but the ancient, the one with wings. Who brought them here? And Tres Pargas. So I'm not really going to be able to tell you that, my friend. Do we live in a simulation? I believe so. I see this world as a reality, as a realm, physical reality. That is it. Not what internet tells us. Do they come to Earth? No, unless it's a ceremonial event. One in UK, I know of in London. Very, very, very rarely. They do have draconian hybrid races that work for them that are used as messengers, as reconnaissance, and they work with the 20% top layer of the Earth-based reptilian race. One race, 3 layers, population of 800 million. Draconians otherwise, too big, too smart, too advanced for us, any planet around us, any reality, realm, dimensionally speaking. Look, we gotta look at things that's real. 5th, 6th density physical races. These guys sit at 6.9 density. Now let's look at the 6.9 density. Demon guys at 6.99 density. They are a hair away from forever leaving to be physically incarnated, but they refuse to. They don't want to go. They enjoy their position of power. So they definitely are not involved with Earth. They are, if I may word it differently, Ryder, their members of their race are involved directly or indirectly with certain humans. Yes.
Okay, so maybe I should rephrase the question. Is there a race that you're aware of that is responsible, that might be in control of Earth? Is there one race or is multiple
Yes.
races, or what's going on there?
Yes. So again, the actual physical controlling, managing, approving, and working with the most, psychopathic human governments, secret governments, that is done by Earth-based reptilians under the careful, watchful eye and permission given by off-planet, high-ranking reptilian societies, all run by the Alpha Draconian Empire.
That's really interesting.
Many different, and when I say societies, I want to tell you this. People don't understand this part because there's not quality or truthful reptilian speakers to educate someone. I am more than willing to do that. You'll never see me asking for a donation. You'll never see me once asking, give me this $20 a question. I don't, no. I proudly answer all the questions that I can. To those, right, that show respect. Come at me like a tough guy, it ain't gonna work. You're barking up the wrong tree, man. It's not gonna happen. Show respect, I'll give you respect back. But if you look at all the top races within the empire, and I'm talking beings at 3 management levels, even above Sakaar, even the royal whites above them. Well, let's look at below Sakaar, Mongas. How about Nagais, Morkul, Kalas, Wartak, Epsilons, Sigmas, Mazarex, all these different beings, they control everything, 89 to 91%, something like that, in relation to all the planetary systems, moons, everything that has to do with Mars, Jupiter, Venus, Saturn, Moon, which is our spy satellite. So large collectives of reptilian consciousnesses, collectives, not one being.
And have they always been in control?
Oh God, Earth? Yeah, absolutely. They looked at Earth like when I was a teenager, I looked at a video game, like Super Nintendo, Sega Genesis, like those Atari, Commodore 64 games. And I was like, that's amazing. I'm the boss of this game. I can do whatever I want. That's how they looked at Earth back then before they even created dinosaurs. Dinosaurs was a direct creation. Back then, also, there were, yes, lizards, second density animals, large dinosaurs, small dinosaurs, Sasquatch, or ancient name, Sataskait, not Sasquatch. That's their real name. They originate from planet Electra, and they walked the Earth. So this was if you want to call it a reality, of just animals, first and second density. So they created it, and they knew that they would eventually evolve. And unfortunately, the genocide did occur with the dinosaurs. They were killed by a sixth density humanoid race named Tikrit, who now are just dust, because their entire race was wiped in one day as a payback, rightfully so. I'd kill for my family too. And from that evolved new creations. And then you had Earth-based reptilians, and then we came, genetic modifications came, and other implants that I don't want to talk about, but certain portions of our reality have been revised and edited by extremely intelligent collectives, not a race, collectives. So today we walk around thinking we have full control over everything that happens on Earth. We're the big bosses. Not really true. We have no control. You know what control we have as humans? We have control to go to Starbucks, order an orange juice or a latte. That's the control you have. Otherwise, I'll tell you something else too. I teach this though. This is very important to me. I was educated on this. So I don't want to talk about it openly because some other person's going to steal my material, right? But if you have a spiritual coach, Ryder, or your viewers, or you're watching a channeler teach you something important, and they're not teaching you what I would consider things that are very important in a spiritual growth, such as removing blacknesses from the third eye, syncing audio and video in the third eye, enabling chakra systems and removing resistances within each and every chakra point, including feeling of safety in the root chakra. If they're not teaching you this, if they're not teaching you how to recognize avatars, if they're not teaching you how to, even to the point of integration of soul to channel yourself, If they're not teaching you codes and coding, and by that I don't mean, internet night school course at college or university coding, matrix codes. You notice no one teaches that? Why is that? Because everyone else is repeating everybody else's shit. The star seeds.
Or they don't
Hold
know.
your light, star seeds. Hold your light. See, everyone's addicted to the aspect of waiting for external saviors. Saviors are coming. I don't want to do any work. I'm just going to get that 5D ascension and instant telepathy. Who's teaching matrix codes? Do you know that the codes are embedded in most of everything and everywhere in this matrix, whether it would be in a support of a consciousness or an attempt to scam a consciousness? Everything you look at in life, and I don't mean billboard ads in streets or television or porn, everything is included that we see there's codes within them. These are extremely advanced codes. They're compromised of consciousness, internal layers of fabric of this reality or reality itself. And humans have these special codes that are embedded within us, but the extraterrestrials call that coding. And the coding, it's responsible because the Anunnakis and Earth-based reptilians, Draconians, and Zetas inserted these things when they came down here to Earth, and they placed their own coding within. So it's a system of manipulation of our reality. I've been taught that. So I've been taught these things where I can relay it to a person, but they have to have an open mind. And this is one of the reasons I think people have said, you're so disrespectful to a lot of these other speakers. Well, no, not really. What are they teaching me? What are they teaching this beautiful, wonderful human race? Nothing. I'm a proud human. I love humans. But when I see humans being deceived by fraudulent channelers, the Thor hand boyfriends, Galactic Federation representatives, of course I get insulted. So do I enjoy seeing them get harmed significantly in the astral? Absolutely. Oh God, yeah. It's a pleasure.
Now, I think I brought this up last time, and it involves Germany during World War II being in contact with a reptilian race. Was that race a draconian race, or was it a Earth-based reptilian race?
Earth-based reptilians made a deal. The American government, Russian, French, UK, Germans were first in mid-30s, way before World War II. And they had access to the moon. That is a fact of all facts. They were gifted a technology to be able to do that. Yes, this is why today, even right now, at this very moment, in our time, there are humans who live on Mars, part of colonies, with humanoids in sync, in peace, and they have absolutely no idea that you even exist. So yes, they were given that technology. Reptilians and Greys that made these deals, and this is where I disagree with a lot of SSP speakers, because they're all repeating the same story. And then depends who has more purchase likes on their Instagram profile, they brag that they're more popular. They're a groupie at a concert waiting for like an acid hit. That's what they are. That's it. They're worthless cowards. They're cult members. SSP is a cult.
Now, what does the Theta Tauri race and any of the other reptilian races said about the secret space program? What did they say about that?
Many humans have either deluded themselves, have mental illness, mental health issues, missed childhoods that never grew up properly, daddy issues, lack of attention that they're receiving in life, lack of friendships in life, lack of brotherhood. They have loneliness, or they've just created falsehood stories in order to give themselves forms of self-importance. Most are ego-driven, egomaniacs. They're not powerful. They're powerless rats. They're just egomaniacs. So when they speak about this SSB, they know it's not real. They're just pretending that they know something about it. Look at James Rink, documentary investigation by a fellow Canadian here. Wonderful guy, Somalian black guy living in Canada, in Toronto, city of Toronto, province of Ontario. His name is Oki, O-K-I. Has a YouTube channel with like 1 million subscribers or something. Oki's Weird Stories. He did a documentary infiltrating the SSP cult in the United States, in Las Vegas, called How I Infiltrated a Bizarre Conspiracy Theory. And then there's a part 2 called How I Became a Space Jesus. That's a great example for people to see how SSPs are fraudulent. So a lot of these people are ego driven, so that they speak this SSP language, this SSP soldier history. They're making it up. It's bullshit stories and presentations and YouTube videos. Now, most importantly, to the point, there is no human SSP named program. SSP doesn't exist. It was made up by a human for humans. There are military joint operations run by extraterrestrial physical beings with advanced ships that we don't even have. We have gifted technology to have our own ships, yes, but there is no such thing as SSP, and the clown green blue chicken guy that invented that knows that, hence why he's been busted. So the rest of the mafia also needs to be busted. They have no power. They have no integrity. They have no mental warfare. They're worthless. They're cowards. Nothing. They're just clowns. There is no human space program. There are only humans that were allowed to be in space by the permission given by the Earth-based reptilians and those Zetas that run Antarctica, approved by the SICAR and others. They are collectives, as I said, of extraterrestrial, extra-dimensional races, a variety of different species, by the way. Different species, all right, including insectoids that have caused more harm to humans than reptilians ever did. There's different societies that allow human presence, yes, that allow and permit a human government's representative on a ship or ships to go and linger around and peek at the meeting from time to time. Remember, I'll tell you this too, if you wanted reptilian message, the only program that truly exists in the space now that humans are part of is a joint venture that is kind of done with the permission of grace, that have given the permission to human governments and that have been approved by the true custodians of this earth-based reptilians under the management of the Alpha Draconian Empire and Alpha Draconian hybrid races. Remember, the messengers, right? So
Would
this
that
simply...
would that be Space Force?
No, I don't have a name for you. I actually do not know a name, right? So the names are all ancient names. There's so many different civilizations. Sorry, there's so many different societies. I've been told some, and to this day, I cannot pronounce it. It's not an English word.
Well, I mean, the humans that would be permitted to be in space.
I wouldn't know anything about them.
No. Okay.
I honestly wouldn't. Yeah. There's, like I said, they're allowed to be present at some of these things. Yes, of course. So this is simply a no resistance to any form. There's just some humans that have allowed their armies and our government to go on some of these gifted ships and be given a permission to attend some meetings. That is it. But they remember who lays down the charge, who gives the rules. Humans have no dominance. They have no power. They have an only very, 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 very small little percentage of a permit that they're allowed to come only when Earth is in the topic of the conversations. They have no galactic meetings, requirements of any sort, nor does any human just go and teleport to Venus and Jupiter, which we've seen many fraudulent speakers do, such as Elena. So these things do not happen. The SSP is made up for humans so that these humans can make lots and lots of money. That's it. They're worthless human.
So you just mentioned that there are humans on Mars, and I'm guessing that there are humans on the moon too. And I could see how that could get confusing into these SSP narratives, because that's what these people talk about too, that they were shipped to Mars and they were shipped to the moon and they lived 20 years and then they were age regressed back in time to the very point that they were taking. Now, how did these real humans actually get to the moon, and how did they get to Mars?
I wouldn't know. I know nothing about these secret programs. I know that I've asked enough to be able to know the truth. Does SSP exist? Secret space program. 20 and back, 30 and back, 90 and back. Actually, the answer I was given is like, if you come here, why do you think we're going to bring your ass back in 20 years? Don't you think we're going to keep you for 400 years and then regress you? 20 and back was just a number given as a reasonable number for people to believe the bullshit story. That is all. But Mars, yeah. Okay, Mars is a completely different conversation. First of all, no space agencies on any government, from any government, have ever landed their stupid little rovers on Mars. It's all CGI. Just like when we see the Tesla vehicle flying around Earth, that's CGI. On Mars, there's much, much, much more activity than we're told. Life does exist there, much more than space agencies tell us. So you have humans, humanoids, extraterrestrials, a whole lot of insectoids. And there's also a small variety of second density animals, small animals. We would call them lizards, but they're not a reptilian being. They're just an animal. Mars has, for many, many different generations, hosted many more different forms of extraterrestrials who have created their own incarnation cycles there. Just like humans that have gone there have created their own incarnation cycles there. Yes, not many, but yes, they have. Mainly Mars today, run by Greys and reptilians from Earth. That is it, all under a watchful eye and a permission by the Alpha Draconian Empire. That's exactly who runs that place. It is not run by the pure blood Draconian management. It is run by the Alpha Draconian hybrid races. Races that are messenger races, that are in the hybridized program races. One race specifically, they're tied to Kalask at 50% of DNA. And they are what they're referred to in their language is geneticist specialists. So lab-related specialists. So you can imagine with that, what happens on Mars. It's not like people are walking down the street eating ice cream. But Mars has got a lot of activity, yes. Moon, not so much.
So the Alpha Draconian Empire not only runs Earth, but it runs the moon, the Mars, and
Oh, God, yeah,
basically all the
absolutely.
planets in our solar system.
Absolutely. Same with Venus, slightly populated with small amounts of extraterrestrial entities, but not a lot of permanent structures like you would see on Mars. So it's like a place where beings come and go. But then again, it is run by Greys and Alpha Draconian hybrid races. Jupiter, same thing, less populated with several different races. But like this really occurs in every other larger body of a solar system. There are dominant races and there are visiting races, controlling races. And this is really how it works. I'll give you this. This is not my fact. Anywhere between like 90% or so in this galaxy is run by the Alpha Draconian Empire. This was a shock to me. And I'm neutral with it. I'm not happy about it. I'm not unhappy about it. It's just a reality. I never knew the power that this collective has. I really did. I never did. But yeah, they have their fingers in everything. Same with Saturn. Same with Saturn. Saturn is completely controlled by them and a Zeta group. One Zeta group.
So on the Earth-based reptilian front, how many bases would you say of a population of an Earth-based reptilian are there on the planet? And do you know where they are approximately?
I know four races. One I've done a video on when I was abducted by three of them. Not in a bad way. It was just, I was taken against my free will, but I'm glad they did because I was able to meet this group out of South Africa. I think 350 kilometers north of Cape Town, like one of the southern cities. Second base that I interacted with the being several times within Poland, very, very close to the border of Ukraine. This was, in my perspective, the greatest experience, most educational I've had with Earth-based reptilians, because I understood their dominance in Eastern Europe. Third base is in the, I'm not Arabic, so excuse if I say it wrongly, but the Arabic countries. And this location was in the Istanbul, one of the largest cities we have, sits on two continents. My hotel was there, so this is why I had an encounter with one of them. And the fourth one is the one in relation to Russia. Recently, an encounter in Russia I had in Moscow. This is a group that absolutely controls everything from Chechnya, Georgia, Russia, even up like the northern area where Russians have like a lot of mountains and ice areas. I'm not sure what the terminology is. I wouldn't know, but certainly their headquarters is the Moscow region, not within the city of Moscow, but I mean the region, that central region, not St. Petersburg. St. Petersburg is northwest. It's that central Russia. Yes. The four that I'm aware of, they have many more, obviously. Population is 800 million. 3 tiers, 3 departments. I've always interacted so far with the mid department, the 60%, the soldiers, the war races. So they're malevolent. Yeah, they're pretty tough, but they don't go out of your way to harm you, kill you, abduct you. Trust me, in Russia, they could have taken me. I can tell you that story because I was 150 meters in ground inside of the soil in former World War II nuclear bunker owned by Joseph Stalin. And they said, obviously, we have absolutely no reason to take you. If anything, we appreciate the consciousness you hold, gifted and given by the Draconian beings and the Theta beings. And you're saying it how they said it to you. You're not changing it and wording it to please other humans around you because they're weak enough and they can't take this information. So the 4 that I'm familiar with is those 4. I know that there's one in California area. There's a contact in a desert expo I went there called Indian Wells, not necessarily by Indian Wells, but within those mountains region. Yeah, there's pretty big base there, but the rest I'm not familiar with.
Now, when you say contact and encounter, you mean at a different density, right?
Yes,
A
yes.
4th density
Yes.
layer.
Absolutely, yes. So you want an example?
Yes.
Yeah, so
I think that this
basically-
is important to, make a distinction here, that it's an astral encounter, that it's at a different level or a different layer of reality, right?
absolutely. So all 4 were different. The recent one, I had a great time. This was in Moscow. I did a 4-day visit to Russia during my European tour, channeling tour, and it was in October of 22, just recently. And I stayed at a hotel right downtown. Took one of their local taxis because Uber wouldn't work. They don't recognize Canadian credit cards, so I'd take a taxi to take me to a place called Bunker. I don't know, 47, 142, something like that. Google it. It's the only Russian Joseph Stalin's nuclear bunker in World War II, where he stayed for a long time not to get killed. And it's 150 meters in ground. There's no elevators. You got to go down there. It's it. And it's connected to a tunnel that was built like back in the day, Tartaria days, that connects you to anywhere else in Russia. And it can connect to St. Petersburg. So went down there and I was able to walk behind a group. I mean, I got pictures. I send you a whole email of pictures because I don't want to be in the middle of a group with kids and people. I want to be in the back, just my free spirited human. Like, let me walk around and touch what I want to walk around and take pictures, right? And I was really thinking, I said to myself, I really would definitely desire and find it very, very honorable to connect to reptilian consciousness while I'm here in Russia. I've never really met one while I was there, even last time in 2019. I said I would really wish to meet one. And I know it's going to sound strange, but what ends up happening is that because I have integration of my soul layers for channeling within my 3rd eye chakra, I got a ping and I knew my soul wishes to talk. So I closed my eyes, said, dear love, dear soul. Yes. And they said, there's a consciousness coming forward. It's a reptilian nature. I said, sure. Yeah. Let it through. I said, okay. And what ended up happening was almost as if the time stops, right? It always does the same thing. Time just stops. People in front of me disappeared. The tour guide disappeared. Little kids running around disappeared. Everything stops. And the being just walked out of a wall. And when they walk out of a wall, they're pretty big. They don't have our heads. They don't have our legs. They don't have our arms. It was a pretty big boy, brown skin. It was currently situated on a layer, as you and I would refer to in our English, 4th density layer. So what he ended up doing was he was able to shift down his energy. He required me to shift up my energy. So because I have the sync with my 4th density layer, I did that right away. And this is why I was able to perceive him. We had a great conversation. And I was awake. I stood there. He stood in front of me, literally 10 feet away. And this, again, as you said, this is not a physical being where I can take a knife and cut into his skin. But what happens is that he took so much of his consciousness to create an extremely dense body. For me to see skin texture, I saw cuts on the skin. You can tell it was like some kind of a warrior. So he basically said, in a way, like, and they don't have a sense of humor, these reptilians. People that met reptilians will know. He kind of said, who comes here? Who comes here, human? So I'm not as sarcastic with them, because you got to be careful how you talk to them. But I did make a sarcastic comment. I said, human is not my name. I have a name. And that's all I said. And he said, what is your name? And I projected my name to him. And this is how we had a conversation. And he said, there's not a lot of humans, first and foremost, that come into this hole. And I said, yeah. I said, I mean no trouble. I mean no disrespect to being, I know this is your home, this region, this land. I'm allowed to be here by the government. I received a visa to be here. I'm come here in peace and respect to work with humans who have the same level of respect as I do towards reptilian consciousness. And I'm just here visiting. He said, I desired to know if you're willing to share any information about your race. Why you guys here? What are you doing here? So he was not there, obviously, to physically do anything to me, but he was extremely, I cannot use the word happy. No, they don't have happiness. They have no emotions. But he was very appreciative of the fact that I didn't turn around and run away, but I engaged him in a conversation. So that was a wonderful thing. And goes back to the signatures, as I mentioned earlier. One of the things I remember he says, first and foremost, I saw your consciousness, and I also saw half a dozen reptilian and draconian signatures, tags added to your aura field. And he goes, that's very impressive for a human. So you have our respect. Stay as long as you want. And I literally said to him, I go, no, I'm going to be leaving soon. I said, the tour is over. It was over because it's a spiral case, like a spiral staircase made out of concrete. And you've got to go step by step. And I said, I appreciate your time, and I'm going to go now. So that was a wonderful conversation. He actually brought up some badges that he saw within my own aura field, which I respect, that he showed me respect. You know what I mean? And again, big boy, very, very powerful guy, very big. I'd say this guy was 10 feet, man, big guy. So that was the Russia. The Istanbul one was the shortest connection I've ever had. This was in Istanbul. I stayed at a hotel right beside Blue Mosque. I forgot the name of the hotel. MK Suites. It was a group of them, and they looked at consciousness and they say, you're not from here. What's the reason that you're here? And I explained the same thing. This was in a hotel room. So he came out of a wall. And what happens is, I'll be very clear to explain too. When you stand in front of one, everything else around you disappears. You don't see the window. You don't see a remote, let's say, in your hand, or a water bottle. You don't see, let's say, a human standing in front of you. You're brought into the fourth entity. They can take you here. They can harm you. Or they can just have a nice, respectful conversation. And I remember talking to this guy about how Turkey itself, the overall collective energy in Turkey, or in Istanbul particularly, on the Istanbul side, not on the Asian side, because the bridge separates. There's Istanbul 1 and Istanbul 2. It's split by a bridge. I said there's a lot of tremendous amount of respect and strict culture here. And he says, yes, a lot of humans here have a lot of honor. A lot of kings and queens have died and spilled their blood, human blood, to capture the land. So we understand that this is their sacred land, even though they have religion, which we don't agree with, but they said, we respect the humans' dedication to defend their land. So I said to him, I go, actually, I came from a war myself. He says, we know. So again, it was a wonderful, I can't say wonderful, I'll take that back. It was a very honorable conversation. That's in relation to Istanbul.
Thank you. I appreciate that, and giving
No problem.
those examples. Now, this is a two-parter question. The first question of this two-part question is, like we've been talking about, reptilians have gotten a bad rap, right, for being aggressive and evil, and some say, demonic. But I think that a lot of that is because, one, their appearance, right? but because they're gigantic beings. So, but with that being said, what's the most evil or the worst thing that you've ever witnessed done to a human by a reptilian species? I know that you mentioned earlier that you've seen a human have their astral bodies suspended. Is that along the lines of one of the worst things that you've seen happen to a human by a reptilian species?
No, the most graphic, gore, violent thing I've ever seen was an Alpha Draconian hybrid race directed by the pure blood Alpha Draconians. Take a human in front of me, in my presence of some other humans, because I was involved into this, which is important to mention. I was involved for 1 year into a program where in the astral state is a technique they teach you, and your consciousness is taken by them, and they train you on some things to build your mental warfare, which I'll get back in a minute. But I stood in the presence of a human at 20 feet or so who was failing at an exercise of remote viewing. And he was very frustrated. And now I want to be very clear for your audience. This was in 5th density state. 5th density soul state of any organic human is physical as I'm physical. Physical. So the key element is to integrate all the layers between the human 3rd density, which is me now, and the 5th layer physical state in order to be able to live in that physical body, to train, work, hang out, go to ships, have sex, do things with extraterrestrials. Most humans can't do that. Most spiritual teachers can't teach you that. So because I've been taught that by the Theta Taurians, hence they sponsor me to be in this program, by class, they were able to do some very, very nasty shit to people that showed disrespect. That never harmed anyone first. It's that the humans took their arrogance with them to the 5th density. They didn't come there pure-hearted, pure-minded. They didn't come there with respect. I was grown up military, so I always have respect to those that deserve respect. This person said to the Draconian hybrid being, F you. And he immediately, like he didn't even finish, Ryder, everything stopped around us. Everything stopped, and out of nowhere appeared extremely 3 menacing black skin Alpha Draconian hybrids, and they raped him violently, very bad. And they showed us a projection of what he looked like in his bed on Earth, and he was bleeding. So this was very menacing for me to witness, but to be honest with you, I enjoyed it. It was great. I've absolutely enjoyed it because he deserved it, and he disrespected those that wished to give him tutoring and teaching and training, and gave him an opportunity to turn his weaknesses into strengths. He gave him an opportunity that most humans don't get, and he showed disrespect. Absolutely. Absolutely. This is why I feel in our industry today, a lot of people's hearts should be stopped. And those humans that have connections to the draconian beings have been taught that already. Mental warfare. But permissions aren't given. So this guy got a pretty bad treatment. This would definitely be one most disturbing. The second one would be a channeler in the industry that has a boyfriend in Tegeta. Just what AI does to her while she sleeps. Literally every night is an avatar. She has no idea what's happening. And this is why she'll die early, very soon. Her system cannot handle it. Will not be able to handle it.
So with getting the bad and the evil out of the way first, what's the most loving thing? I know that they don't use the term love or any of that, but just an Earth version to explain the question here. What's the most loving thing that you've seen a reptilian species do to a human?
Nothing. Never. I've never seen anything. And I'll never see anything. They don't operate this way. There's been things that were done to me, like in the 5th density, in my own 5th density layer state. So when I go to bed, I know how to shift to their energy. They take my consciousness, bring me into fifth. I can walk their physical planet. As my human body sleeps here, I can walk their planet. So I would say the closest thing to loving, and I don't want to use that word, was they have children that are like, I would say 4 foot tall. And they have intelligence of like our PhD professors. But they came up once in a group and said, teach us what it's like to be a child on Earth. So I just gave them stories of me growing up, playing soccer, playing with wooden AK-47s, wooden, sliding down a street in our neighborhood on skates. So things like winter sports for us was a big thing, you know? And I told them those things. And they looked at me like I asked them for an equation of 9,000. They were like, well, that's ridiculously stupid. I'm like, it's what we do. We play with each other. We don't do wars. We play with each other. It's just that it's like the Spartans, like that movie 300. Since children, these reptilians are bred to be soldiers. You understand? They don't know anything else. They just know toughness, fierceness, wars. Like if you said, and a lot of people don't kind of get that. They're like, well, what's the point of being so hateful? Well, they're not hateful. They mean hate to nobody. They just don't have weak emotions. Theta Tauri race is the most dominant, commanding, prevailing, sovereign, ruling, governing, overbearing, but authoritative and compelling and strict and critical and mighty race I've ever met. Vigorous, rigid. The names go on. Deadly, lethal, absolutely. Emotionless. Oh yeah, no emotions. Menacing. Alpha Draconians, menacing. Ruthless, violent, remorseless. In English, remorseless. English is not my first language. I apologize. Harsh, barbarous, but they're honorable. They're prideful. They're loyal. They're faithful. They're truthful. They're stable. They're calm too. They don't go to anger first. So they are violent, yes. But why would you provoke a problem with them? So don't. And if you don't, you won't have a problem. Simple as that. Don't provoke the bears, man. Just live your life. Say, do your thing, and don't say stupid, dumb shit on the internet, because they're going to come and get you. And when they do, you don't come back. They'll clone your consciousness. They'll do things, buddy, that's uncomprehendable by humans, because it's the technology that they have that we're not aware of.
So how many humans on the planet right now do you believe is in contact with a reptilian species?
As far as Theta Tauri race, they only have under 1 dozen of human contacts on Earth since the existence of humanity, since the existence of their race. Rob Garthier and myself, currently today, are the 2 humans that are allowed to connect to them, channel them. Rob does not have the partnership agreement because he has an agreement with another race from Capella. You know that, the Yits. I have the agreement with Theta beings. I have an agreement with Kalask, 6th density Alpha Draconian race. I just don't channel Kalask. So I would say as far as Kalask, channeling agreement, no one. Connections, like you're talking about, like connection, like solid connections, contact connection.
Yeah.
75, 76. 75 to 6. Demon God, besides myself, I would say 8 humans have been either, yelled by them, or neutrally they talk to a human. Sikar numbers even less. Vortak, yeah, he has more connections, yes. Earth-based reptilians? Oh God, plenty, man. Plenty. Lots of humans. You have Earth-based reptilian connections. I told you that a year ago. So a lot, because we're very close to them. They're like our brothers. They just don't have emotions, that's all.
What's the percentage rate of people on the planet that are in contact or have a connection with any ET species?
It's a very good question. I'm not sure of the exact answer. I know that, as it was explained to me, without statistics, a lot of people today that claim they meet an extraterrestrial in the dream state, astral state, they're not talking to an extraterrestrial. They're talking to infiltrators who reside in the low fourth density layer. They know when we go to bed. They know when we go meditate. They know humans don't have the proper sentences to enable the mental warfare in order to be protected. So they know a lot of people meditate for the fun of it, unprotected, going to bed unprotected. So a lot of abductions and a lot of these things occur, hijacking, of course, or just theft of energy and insertions of implants and trackers. Where? Chakra points. Why? They take your energy, stupid. So be careful not to connect for the sake of connecting. But of course, you can't tell that to people today because, you know, they speak to Pleiadians. 5D coach told them that. So I wouldn't know the exact number, but I would go back to the statistics given by two races, and that 60 to 61% of humans are hijacked or making it up. Well, that's 2/3 in my math. That's a big number, very big number, meaning we have a problem. So either this industry, I will refer to this way, either alpha draconian beings, and believe me, I've asked, but either they start giving human connections permits to do some very shocking things in the industry here, or they should just activate a shitload more of alpha draconian speakers, reptilian speakers, because this industry needs a change. We need to bring more truth and honor to humans, to viewers, such as your viewers, my viewers, and stop feeding them the lies, the comfortable lies that sound safe, you know?
I agree 100%. And that's what I'm really trying to do with this channel is bring real authentic people on here to have a really awesome conversation with and get away from the fake bullshit fairy tale land nonsense. But I just have a couple more questions for you and then I'm going to let you go. So do the Draconian Empire or any of the reptilian races that you are in contact with or that you've had experiences with, do any of them use AI at all?
Never.
None of them use AI?
No. So for fact, I've interacted with 38 alpha draconian and alpha draconian hybrid beings within 5th and 6th density states. Out of those 38, 6 or 7 were in the 4th density state. This is a combination of 6 races. No one respects AI. If it wasn't for these powerhouses of power, AI would have taken us all over already. So in my perspective, AI is the enemy, and no, they dislike everything that has to do with AI. Ryder, if a wind blows the wrong way towards their land, they're not going to appreciate that. They're extremely territorial species, very honorable. They protect their elders. They protect their land, their sacred land. AI is like an enemy, as if another race literally attacked them with ships. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, that definitely, like, I can't stress to you enough just how dominant and fierce these guys are. And they don't respect anyone that doesn't show them respect. And AI never shows respect. It's a toxic virus. It's a program. It's quite intelligent, very intelligent, who's infiltrated Earth successfully, you know, unfortunately.
So is the Draconian Empire at the top of this pyramid, or is there another species or another group or race of reptilians above the Draconian Empire?
No, the Empire runs everything, really. That's the truth. They've always run everything. There's 3 management races above Sakaar. Yes, of course. I've met Sakaar. So I can tell you that Sakaar is absolutely real. And another thing I'm going to mention to you, the SSP stories that they battled Sakaar and cleared underground tunnels on Moon and underground tunnels on Earth and Antarctica, and how this was, you know, biblical and nothing can stop what's come. That's bullshit. Sakaar doesn't lose wars, but the highest level of Draconian is the royalty groups above Sakaar, the management groups. That's it. But then you have war races, physical beings that go and fight things and do things, and then manage other races. There are many different levels and layers between the sub-levels of this massive family. But the greatest and the biggest war races is Sakaar and Dimonga. the official winners of the Orient Wars.
Interesting. So my last question for you here tonight, and I just want to thank you really quickly. I appreciate you coming on my show and speaking with me again. Very honorable. Everyone should go and subscribe to Anthony's YouTube channel. He's producing amazing content over there. He's running a podcast now that's very professional, and I highly couldn't recommend his channel anymore. The link will be in the description of this video. So my last question for you this evening here, brother. What are your plans for 2023? And do you have any advice for the viewers in the community, especially in light of everything that we've just talked about, the fakes and the frauds, and also in light of the Corey Good nonsense deposition videos?
Corey, I don't know personally. We've never met, hung out, emailed, called each other. I don't know how tall he is. I know nothing about him. I know he's lying. He knows he's lying. That's it. It's very simple. So to me, he's a rat. He's a rat, just like the other ones that make shit up. As far as 2023 plans, yes, thank you first of all for the podcast. I own a new podcast launched in November 22. I'm sitting in it now. It's called Canadian Awareness Podcast. It's on my YouTube channel. And 23 obviously is going to be interviewing some interesting people that are not in the channeling industry, not in ufology. I want to talk to like retired UFC fighters, military soldiers, those kind. I want to get their perspective on human empowerment, which is my main mission behind what I do, is to empower humans, not to have them sit there and wait for external saviors, to be enlightened magically. So as far as the podcast, same thing. I'm going to chill here, hang out, and talk to some interesting people. Tours, yeah, I have 2 tours. In 23, I have a tour across the United States again. I'm not sure the date yet. It's on the website. And there will be another Russian, Emirates, Turkey, Istanbul, like that kind of tour. I'll be in England in August. Roderick Martin's going to be there. Billy Carson, Mary Rodwell. I'm going to go visit, hang out. And then UFO MegaCon, obviously, Continent in the Desert in June. I'm going to be there. And LA Conscious Expo in February. I'm going to visit all these things and kind of see what's happening there and reconnect with some friends that I have in these regions, friends like yourself, let's say. As far as the advice, there's a lot of different things that I can say, but we don't have that time. Those that are interested in the reptilian connections, like for people that say reptilians, this, that, I don't care. You're not my caliber of a human anyway. If you want to start talking fear mongering, people that are interested in true reptilian consciousness, true reptilian mental power, mental warfare power, these things can be enabled in any human. Remote viewing by reptilians taught can be done by them to show you suspension or killing someone mentally can be taught in self-defense. Shooting down a craft in an astral state that flies over you can be done mentally. Injection of fear or stopping an organ to another human or an astral being attacking you, this can be taught. These are some serious things. Yes, I understand. But mental warfare is the most best possible thing for humans interested in reptilian connections to enable. Absolutely. Third eye mental weapons should be enabled, tools, anything within 4th, 5th, and 6th density. There are some great channelers. I do not bring any more Theta Tauri people. Sorry, I do not bring into consciousness of Theta beings to humans. They requested not to. And I will be bringing in 23 Teotor reptilians and hopefully Kalask reptilians, but I will be considering to have one-on-one training with individuals to enable their own mental warfare, enable their telepathy, teach them how to remove resistances from their crown points, crown chakra points, and other points, and remove blacknesses from the third eye, and also teach them how to channel. My channeling course isn't a one-day course, it's a 3-month course. It's a lot to learn. So high advice to bet your viewers the best way, never be afraid of fear mongering. Gravitate towards those that are the most powerful in the galaxy, and that is the Alpha Draconian Empire and other independent races, because they bring power, intensity, fearlessness, danger, but they bring in honor, prideful actions, and a whole lot of courage. And us humans can learn from that and benefit. That's the best advice.
So earlier, Anthony, you were referring to these 61% of fraudulent people that are in the community. Do you have a message to these 61% of fraudulent channelers or fraudulent people that are spewing nonsense in the community?
It would be not necessarily, like an email I wish to send them. Would be more my perspective on who they are. I know they watch my show. Sometimes they watch your shows, and many people watch their shows and vice versa and so forth. So we all know each other in the spiritual community. But yes, first of all, there's a lot of fraudulent speakers. All of these little parasites, bacteria crawling on the floor, licking the floor, begging for another dollar, another donation, stealing human energy, promising them ascension to 5D, promising them to be picked up as a worthy 144,000 member selected human membership, being taken on crafts, these fairy tales. These speakers, they promise galactic federation of lights and worlds and ashtars. These connections, these are fraudulent cowards. They're rats. They're worthless and extremely powerless. They have absolutely no mental warfare. They know it. I know it. They have no honor. And honor to me means more than just a word. It means more than just some human English vocabulary, someone that uses it to make themselves feel better. Honor is in true action, prideful actions, a way of life, unbreakable, where you stand on your behalf and you stand on behalf of your race. So these fraudulent speakers are not proud humans. They lie to make money, and they know it. They call themselves enlightened ones, special ones, the worthy ones, 5D coaches. A reptilian told me once, and it was a very good point, and he's explained his perspective when it comes to humans that lie to other humans and sell them these dreams where they say, I speak to Enki, I'm a king of Lyra, I'm an ambassador of this federation and that. The reptilian being wishes to say, and he's explained to me that how would a human feel that proposes these particular lies after years and years of lying on the internet, lying in your videos, selling fairy tales, promising and promising illusions of ascensions and new earth and medbeds and all of these different things. Now imagine how many times you've disappointed these humans, these innocent humans who truly paid you the money to take them to source, to take them to God, to take them to Pleiadians or Arcturians, to teach them these ascension tactics, and you failed. And you failed on purpose. Now imagine how many hundreds or thousands of moments you've disappointed someone with your false promises of ascension, false promises of 144,000 nonsense and fairy tales of blue avians and others. Now imagine the top speaker in the GFL industry today who just got pregnant, doesn't know it yet. Imagine that if your body is suspended and overtaken with technology, that your soul cannot intervene, and your fetus is removed out of your body in front of your eyes, and that fetus is removed by taking its life, taking the consciousness away, and watching you scream in pain, but you cannot scream. Your consciousness is suspended, and then that fetus is placed back in your body, and then you're allowed to wake up. Now imagine the agony you'd go through. Would that be fair? To pay you back for the agonies and disappointments you've created for the past 10 years in the industry? Or the ones promising Thorhan boyfriend relationships, Era Shvaru, and other type of connections? Imagine if your own mother, who's currently sick, dying almost, if her organs are stopped in the astral state with avatars as you watch, helplessly unable to move. How would you feel about that agony after 10 years of lying to humans, pretending you cure cancer, pretending you heal DNA, pretending you can take him to an ascension? Now imagine if these things are done to you. So the question is this fair? Are reptilians unfair? And maybe in 23, this will become a reality, and the proper duality practice. Duality will occur here on Earth.
you just need to pay me $11 and I can take you straight to the ship, Anthony. I can heal your body, bro.
That's cancer too. Cancer. My favorite is $2,400 cancer sessions. Yeah.
Just pay me all of your money. I can take care of all of your problems. I can take you to the Galactic Federation ship where we can take you off the planet and heal your body and teach you all these wonderful, awesome things, get you in a med bed. But it's going to cost you money,
It's
Earth
gonna
dollars.
cost you. Yeah. Yeah.
What does the ETs have to do with Earth dollars? I don't think
I have a copy on PDF where it is a document written by a fraudulent channeler of Galactic Federation of Light named Greg Giles. And he has a document in PDF, which I own. I can email it to anybody. And it says, bring your toothbrush. Bring your toothbrush to the Ascension. Archangel Michael will be there, Ashtar, and will cure your cancers and diseases and give you free onboard craft shopping. And then we have lies like recently with Corey Goods being finally exposed for the piece of coward that he is. But that is okay because new blue chicken recruits keep coming on and on and on and on, like the recent one, Child. I'm not sure if he passed Corey's Academy of Fraudulent Channeling or Wilcox Fraudulent Channeling, but they keep recruiting new members who take a piece of paper and go like this. Dear Starseeds, we are coming. We are definitely not forgotten about you. The ascension's going to be here. We are here. So primitive, childish, immature mindsets like that. Do they deserve to steal human energy? Do they deserve to lie to innocent humans? Innocent humans who truly need help, who truly need removals of implants, removals of parasites, deassociation and disconnect of a deceased humans and interferences in the astrals. Do they really need to be tricked? Well, it's a proud human. I think it's a disgrace to use these innocent humans for their money. So is it fair to stop someone's heart because they're fraudulent channeler? Absolutely not. And nothing will stop that.
Well, yeah, I mean, frauding the public is horrible in my book. That's the biggest problem that I have with the whole Corey Goods situation is he was frauding the public for 8 years straight, passing his experiences off as if they were real. And then the court deposition comes out and he says that they're all fake and made up and that he, made them all up. Right. So it's like, there would be no problem in my eyes if these people were straight up from the very beginning, right? If they were like, hey, this isn't real. I'm not, I'm not physically meeting with any of these beings or what. If they were straight up from the very beginning, there's no issue from me personally, right? But the problem is they're not, right? They're passing all their experiences off and all of these things that they're going to do for you as physical, real experiences when they're not. They're not physical, real experiences. That's why I asked you. That's why I asked you specifically in this interview, Anthony. I said, just a little bit ago, I asked you, I said, well, this is a fourth density layer that you're experiencing this stuff on, right? And you explained the fourth density layer and you went through all of that, right? And that's a very honorable thing to say, right? You're not, frauding people, trying to tell them that, now it might seem physical, like you explained. You said, oh yeah, whenever you're there, it feels physical. Right. But it's not a 3D physical reality experience.
Absolutely. And one of the things I agree with you there, not with everything I do agree, one of the things you said on Rob Garther's interview recently, and I've said this a million times, it's extremely rare extraterrestrial physical beings open portals to come here into our living rooms. It's not how it works. There's permissions that need to be taken into consideration. There's permits that need to be granted. Earth-based reptilians need to agree, and facilitators that are Zeta and other groups need to agree. So majority of the contact occurs on crafts, on ships, fifth density, some if certainly you have that opportunity. I'm very grateful that I do. And there's a variety of different fourth density ones, yes. And when I say fifth density physical, you are so physical, you can smell someone, touch someone, you can feel the pain if they hit you, push you. So yeah, it's extremely physical, but not in this physical. Dimensionally, it is almost impossible for an extraterrestrial to just walk into your house and stay here for 4 days. No, 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 no. That's not how it works. We can go up there for 4 days, which is equivalent to our 16 to 18 days. But it's difficult for them to come here. So when people say in the channeling industry, they say, oh, no, I don't need channeling. I have an electronic implant in my brain and I can connect like this to anybody. You are so full of shit that even your parents are embarrassed of you. You should just stop talking. You should stop talking, because the only people believing these nonsense things are those that don't understand channeling. And when I say don't understand, I don't mean that disrespectfully. I mean that very respectfully. However, to some humans, there is no hell. Because if you think that Galactic Federation of Light is here to take you to 5D ascension and new Earth, as you're one of the 144,000 selected special starseed light warriors, you're absolutely wrong. Nor does 144 has to do with anything. 144,000, it's as a fact, has to do with our DNA and oversouls. But there's a lot of education I think the industry needs to go through. And as a proud human, regardless whether they like me or not, I respect and love other humans proudly, but I absolutely dislike those parasitic scum. They call themselves the ambassadors, who lie, who say they're from Mars, they're incarnated Enki. They speak to Enki, they're Lyran kings and queens, you know, and those kind of things. Those are the Elenas, the Ishmaels, the Sam Illusionists, EA, Aurora. And those people of the world are not channelers, they're entertainers, and I will give them credit. They're phenomenal entertainers. But as far as mental power is concerned, I proudly represent, and I will continue to do that. Will always continue to proudly represent an extremely authentic and powerful alpha draconian power. And I will continue to do that. And those beings don't tolerate fraud, and those beings don't give a shit who they hurt, take, or not return. And all of these parasites within the industry have such wonderful, wonderful, remarkable Christmas gifts coming their way. It's just it won't happen in December.
Thanks so much, Anthony. And I lied. I actually do have one more question because I meant to bring this up earlier, but it's really important too. So, what's the percentage rate of UFOs that people see in the skies currently? What's the percentage rate of them being extraterrestrial, and what's the percentage rate of it being us in our military? And that'll be the last question, I promise.
Well, you can have as many questions as you want. There's no limit. I love speaking with you, and I enjoy it, and I appreciate you as a human. I don't just tolerate you, but yes, the UFO phenomenon, it is my personal perspective, but I will exclude. So I will give you an extraterrestrial perspective, if that probably would be better. Majority of the ships you see are not actual extraterrestrial ships. They got better things to do to come here. So 30 to 31% or so of extraterrestrial ships that humans have seen in the last 12 years were real ships. Like 30% of all the ships were actual extraterrestrial ships in the last 12 years. The rest, human governments, same ones that abduct humans. It isn't ETs abducting us. So there are certainly some ships that come. Earth-based reptilians fly some ships, and they don't care to cloak them. But again, this is very rare, very, very rare. So thermal cameras, thermal imaging, second generation, third generation, you can't see them. They have technology that surpasses our technology and our lenses and shit. So stop taking pictures of clouds and birds and drones and anything that flies and say, oh, look, a ship. No, it's a star. Relax. So these ships that are real ships, Ryder, can certainly be seen, whether they're cloaked or not, as long as you enable fourth density consciousness adjustment or fourth density consciousness integration within you. Channelers can do that. I can teach you how to do that. So yes, then you'll be able to see. But a lot of the ships, nope, not our ships in any way, not at all. I have a number. I can give you this number if you want. In the last, 1 second. Yeah, in the last 12 years, there's been 7,800 or so ships. 12 years of human time, there's been 7,800 or so real ships that came here. The rest, not ours. We're seeing tremendous amount of ships that are government run based reverse technology. And also remember drones. Drone that's larger than the one you and I operate we buy at Best Buy. No, larger drones. I've seen some drones at a military expo in Moscow, Russia in 2018. And I believe I've sent you this picture for you to believe what I'm saying. When I met up with the Russian military in relation to the business, they had drones size of this entire house, unmanned. Kalask Alpha Draconian race has a drone that's size of a sand, 1 cent. Why does it get sent here? Well, it can enter your nose and ear cavities. You can enter any vent. And if you enter vents, you can get into these bases, right? So there's reconnaissance drones humans see. Those are not extraterrestrials.
Which is a very, very important thing. And that's exactly what I've discovered too through my research and talking with individuals. And that was like my thing. Like, why is it that whenever we look in the sky and we see something that we don't know what it is, why are we assuming that it's extraterrestrial? Two, just exactly like what you said, why are we assuming that there's anybody even on that craft, right? It can be a drone.
I've seen a ship here. I've only one time seen a real ship because I asked for it. It took me like a year of begging. One ship in my entire life, and I'm in my mid-40s, Ryder. One ship I've seen. And I can tell you that these real ships, they come here for a purpose, not to abduct a cow. No. Many of these ships have particular technology that is held in secrecy and privacy. And there's a layer that is physically protected by those who are in the government. And they don't want this to come out. Extraterrestrials, whether benevolent or malevolent, they don't come here to abduct me or a dog or a cow or a sheep. Absolutely not. Smallest ship is a foot long, a real ship. And the being is like 2 inches tall, a physical being. That I was explaining as well. So a physical being 2 inches tall, a ship 1 foot long, right? So they have a lot of different things we're not used to. And how can you learn about ships today? What am I going to go to Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube? Everywhere I turn around, there's an Ashtar channeler coming. There's a Galactic Federation coming. There's a Blue Chicken Avian guy promoting something. There's SSP Sergeant who served 970 years on Mars and 1,400 years on Venus. We are populated with propaganda, fake news, made up stories, disinformation, and misinformation. Relatively similar, and staged events and a lot of psyops.
Absolutely.
Unfortunately.
In and out of this community, which is really unfortunate that it's in this community, because people come to, channels like, these really popular channels and stuff on YouTube and on other platforms looking for truth, and they don't get it there. They get a bunch of bullshit nonsense, which is really, really unfortunate. And I feel,
well, we have shows like you that call out things. Yes. There's another show, CW Chanter. He calls out shit. One of the best shows I've seen. I don't agree with this man 100%, but I do agree with him quite a bit. Stephen Cambion owns a channel named Truth Seekers. Yeah. Dude, he has brought on every medbed scammer, every blue chicken scammer, every fake channeler. When and I find it funny, man. Some people pretend they're like in some coma shock when they're grounding. No, you don't need to do that. You're making shit up. There's a way to ground when you channel. There's a way to change consciousness with an extraterrestrial. When you exchange consciousness, that's trans channeling. It's the most intense, electrifying, and electrocuting thing you can experience. Those are proper integrations. Stephen does a good job of identifying, I think, what's fake, what's not real. Like, he's not a channeler, so he wouldn't perhaps understand the true aspect of channeling. I mean, I can explain him that one day on the show, but he certainly does a phenomenal investigation, and so do you. So my honor goes to you. I'm the one that actually should be thanking you. I mean, I have no shame to say that. Thank you for what you do. You don't see the difference. You don't notice the difference because you're busy recording and editing. I see the difference when people ask me in an Instagram chat, what do you think of Ryder Lee? What do you think of this show? What do you think of Garthier? What do you think of, Lee Harrison? These people, you're making their life better. You're providing them with a different perspective. Your investigative work does that. So there's something within you, Ryder, that's chasing the honorer. You just have to find out what it is.
Thanks, brother. I appreciate that so much. Can you let people know? Can you plug your YouTube channel or your website one more time so I can link it in the description and people can go over there and subscribe and check out your work?
It doesn't even matter. I'm just glad to talk to you today. I'm Anthony. I'm with Canadian Awareness Channel. I'm an extra dimensional channeler, a proud channeler of a reptilian race named Theta Tauri. And I just shoot the shit on the internet and hang out and have a good time and push this limit, this life as much as I can. And I don't care for promotions, but that's where I can be found. So those that have respect and that have a curious mind, sure, absolutely. I welcome your communications. And if I can, I will always help you. My direct email is info@canadianawareness.ca.
Thanks so much, Anthony. Anybody that is interested and found value in this discussion with me and Anthony, I highly recommend check the links in the description. For everyone else, thanks for watching and listening. Much love to everyone in the chat. Please be sure to hit the thumbs up button to help the channel in the YouTube algorithms. And Happy New Year to everyone. I don't know if I'm going to be back on next Tuesday or not. I might take a little break. Haven't really decided yet, but I will be seeing you guys soon. Share, subscribe, hit the bell icon as well for notifications. The links to all of my information is also in the description. And remember, we're not only in a spiritual war, but a war on humanity. Stay aware, stay alert, keep loving your heart for everyone. Stay safe out there. And if you can see through the illusion, you are the solution. See you guys next time.